Well, welcome again to the Robert Force Show, talking about dulcimers and things that went on in my life that made this instrument a good friend to me. When last we spoke, in this vein, I just met Albert Dache, and he was to change my life. Not right then at that point. He went back to Washington, D.C., and I went over to see Jerry Beale one more time. Jerry Beale, now he ran something at that time he called the Farkleberry Farm Steam Dulcimer Works and Music Emporium up there in Newark, Ohio. And he said, "Tell you what, Brute," that's what he called me. He just thought that was hilarious, Brute Force. He said, "Hey, Brute, you know, if you want to learn to build dulcimers, you can come on up and I'll teach you how to build dulcimers, and we can go around to festivals together and you can play them and I can sell them and we'll all do great." So I said, okay, that sounds good. And he gave me his name and number and when to look him up and where to look him up. And then the next day, that Monday morning after Easter, all 40,000 people left the Union Grove, North Carolina, and it went back to being a population 18 plus me, 19. And I looked at my options. Well, I'd found, in a sense, the dulcimer. I'd found the roots, or at least I'd found, you know, I wasn't, who knows what could have happened. I didn't end up in some holler down in Tennessee or Kentucky or any of those places. I ended up going back north because there was a man who said, if you come up here, I'll teach you how to build dulcimers. And I thought, all right, I'm game. So I got into that pink 54 Lincoln Capri and I drove it north. And 2 days later, I ended up at Jerry Beale's door. He looks at me and goes, you know, because the impulsive, long-haired hippie type, you do rights now. In fact, I had an old girlfriend, and her name was Cheryl. And we went through high school and stuff together. And she said to me, "Robert, the only problem with you," little did she know I had many more problems, but she said, "the only problem with you is you tend to think in terms of immediacy and forever." Anyway, it was an immediate thing for me to get back in that car, drive north and go straight to Jerry Beale's house and knock on his door. And he went, okay. And he said, let me get my wife used to the idea. Tell you what, there's somebody I want you to meet in the town over. It's about 6 miles away in Granville, Ohio. Why don't you go meet her, spend a couple of days over there, and then come back. And she sent me to the home of Anne Grimes. Now, Anne Grimes, turns out, had the largest dulcimer collection of Appalachian dulcimers dating back 100 years or more, hanging on the walls of her living room. But that's another story. I want to tell you what happened before I get on to Anne was the car died right there in Granville, Ohio. And it has a small university there at the time called Denison University, and universities have always been good to me. So I went to the university and met a man. His name was Lincoln. And I said, "Lincoln, I've got a Lincoln car. How would you like to have this car?" And he went, "Okay, what do you want for it?" And I said, "Well, it ran right till a few minutes ago, but it's a good, strong car. Tell you what, you give me a place to stay for a couple of days and buy me a backpack and a sleeping bag, and I'll give you the car." He said, "That's a done deal." So Lincoln got my Lincoln. I got to meet Anne Grimes, and I traded that car for a backpack and for a sleeping bag, and they were to be my constant companions for the next 5 years when I ended up hitchhiking somewhere in the neighborhood of 300,000 miles around the United States. Once again, with the dulcimer on my shoulder saying, "You know what this is?" And of course, in the places I went, they didn't. So I said, "Hey, let me show you." So stay tuned. Robert Force Show.